It's easy to run from the truth. It's even easy to pretend that it never even happened. But eventually, the silence gets too loud, and life forces you to face the reality of your truth, whether you're ready for it or not. Waking up in this room feels like a glitch in time. 10 years ago, I couldn't wait to leave this town. I thought I had outrun the desert. I thought I had built something permanent. But a week ago, the floor fell out, and now the only thing I own is in that suitcase, and the only plan I have is to start over from zero. But before I can document everything, we have to start where it all began. We have to uncover the truth. Because in order to become Bryan, I have to tell who Bryan was. The person that was lost. The feelings, the thoughts, the ideas. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today, we face the truth. Okay. Hey, I just recorded a whole segment of this, and I feel like I was just talking in circles, and so I'm gonna redo this. This is hard. This is really hard. But this, I guess, episode kind of makes the most sense to do now, because before I can document anything about being a better person or trying to find myself, I have to be honest about why I'm in this position, and I have to be honest with the things that I've done wrong and have done good. And I can't just run away from the facts. And I said that I was going to document everything, and part of that is going to have to be being vulnerable and honest. And without saying too much, I will say, though, a little disclaimer is that I will not share any information about other people's personal information. So if there's other things that happened in the span of this story that involves other people, I'll keep that very limited. But in terms of me, I'll be open about everything on my end. Summary of things. So I was engaged for almost 2 years, dating for almost 3, and we were gonna get married relatively soon. I had a dog. We had our own little trailer that we rented, and we had a very happy life. I was the sales manager at Rent-A-Center, and before that I used to work at Waffle House. I was a manager there, and I was happy. I was very happy. The town that I'm currently at right now is my hometown, and this is a very small town in the desert that I spent years of my life. Everyone dreams of getting out of here. They call it the sand trap, because you get stuck here and you always come back, and here I am coming back. But you work so hard to get out of here and to make a life on your own, and not only for me to have done that, but then to go and live pretty much like my dream life just for like that little span of time. 3 years was absolutely amazing, because for once in my life, at least that period of time, I really did feel like I knew who I was, what I wanted. And that's what makes this so hard, is I didn't just lose myself in the moment, but I lost the version of the man that I thought I would be in the next 50 years. This wasn't just today's Bryan. This is like the Bryan that I thought would be on his deathbed, that I've envisioned the rest of his life. That entire mindset, that entire destination is just gone now, like that. I mean, it feels like that, but it really wasn't, because pretty much from the beginning, I knew that this was probably how this would end, but in my mind, living in the delusion and living and being able to perpetuate that delusion and do everything I can to keep that on track was like the only way I thought that this would survive. And so that's what I did. I, did whatever I had to do to make sure that that life that I finally found that I've wanted for my entire life, like up to 21 years, had finally come to fruition. So I was not about to let that go, very selfishly. And there was a lot of things that I did that I'm not proud of. And without getting in too much detail, on the other half, our relationship was definitely not perfect. Obviously we were engaged and everything, but we broke up multiple times, at least I think 3 or 4 times. There was a lot of toxic behaviors. The reasons for the breakup, all of our breakups were very, very explosive. There was a lot of things that, one of which, she thought that I had cheated on her, and it turned into a whole thing. And, then I clawed my way back to prove my innocence, to get back to be with her. And then I was finally back with her, and I'm like, okay, great, here we go. Now I'm definitely not letting this go. And so when we broke up again, I was like, dang, like, this, I really, like, I cannot let this go. Like, I have never in my mind felt so sure and felt so confident about something. So then when we got back together, that's kind of what led to where I'm at now. I had a car that I just bought, that I just financed, because my previous car had broken down, and for months I was trying to get a new car, and that was a contentious point in our relationship as well. So I finally got this car, and that's kind of what brought us back together, and that's what got me back to being with her. And like, so I was super happy, right? Well, I mean, this car was a lot, and come to realize that I've been very bad with my money over this entire relationship, trying to buy her affection. And so I would run myself dry to the point where I wouldn't be able to eat some days, to the point that like I'd be stressing about literally every single bill that I had. Even like the Apple bill would be freaking me out because I had nothing. So the first payment I defaulted on, I didn't tell her. I should have told her, yes. And I'm not going to say that the reason that I have for not telling her is a justifiable reason, but I will say that it was not malicious in the way that I did it because I wanted to cause her harm. I did it because I wanted to protect our peace, because of the nature of our relationship and because of how toxic it is. I knew that alone would be me ending up in this same situation I'm in right now. And again, like I said, I was willing to do whatever it took to keep perpetuating the delusion of this life that I thought that we were going to have. Well, needless to say, she found out, and I didn't tell her about it, and she was rightfully mad. Now, will I say that the reaction to lead to where we are now is justified? No, because there's a lot of things that she is not aware of, and there's a lot of things that obviously you guys don't know about the nature of our relationship and about these things that definitely still aren't accurate. I didn't try to perpetuate anymore. I kind of just I knew in that moment leading up to it that it was already gonna be over. And so when it finally happened, my body kind of just took over, and I just gave up and I walked away, and for the better, but that doesn't make it any easier. Because it's not just, like I said, I didn't just lose the Bryan then, but I lost like the Bryan that I thought I'd be for years, and like my entire life. And so literally in the blink of an eye, it was all gone, when all I was doing was actually trying to save it anyways, and it still ended. And it's a really hard pill to swallow, because I went to blame but myself, despite what I thought the outcome would be. I can't sit here and say that like this is woe is me, or this is just terrible luck, because it's not. But I will say that sitting here a few days after the fact, I've had some time to reflect, and I have realized that this never was going to be what I wanted it to be. And I wasted all that time trying to make that happen. And I think the lesson that I've learned, or am starting to learn, is that when you notice that the tide has changed, when you notice that it's done, like, no matter how much of you, like, you could literally give your entire self away, every dollar you have, everything, and it's not going to make that work. It's not going to make that stick. It's not going to make that a reality. No matter how bad you want it, it's not, because it takes two people. It takes two people that equally want something the same for something to work like that, and it just wasn't that. And I wish it was. I really do. I really wish that I could go back, and that I could have saved myself the time of, losing all of that. But again, when you're in it, it feels great. Like, it feels amazing, because growing up, I've had very, very long and tumultuous battle with mental health, and I never even thought that I would be engaged, and I never, let alone, thought that I would almost be married. And I never thought that I would confidently say that I knew who I was, or that I was happy with what I was doing. And so it was just such a blissful period of time, even though it wasn't. And I think that's what is the hardest thing to accept, is that how could something that felt so right and so perfect actually be the most draining and worst thing for me possible? It made me go to lengths that I never thought I would, in the best and worst of ways. I would do anything for her, but that also meant I would do anything for her. I would drive 3 hours to go get whatever she wanted, but I would also say whatever I had to say to keep her happy, hold whatever I needed to hold inside to keep her happy, ignore whatever I had to ignore to keep her happy. And when you get to that point, it's not love anymore. It's almost like obsession, but not really that I was obsessed with her. I was obsessed with chasing the validation, I think. I wanted to be loved the way that I was loving her, and since I never got it, I just kept thinking I had to do more and 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 more. And eventually, there is no more. Like, I could have spent $1 million, and it still wouldn't have changed what happened. And it sucks. My camera almost died when it ran out of storage, and I had been talking for I don't even know how long, just to find out that it stopped. So we'll try to recoup what I was saying. But pretty much, yeah, I mean, I could have done an infinite amount of stuff, and I don't think it would have changed anything. And the problem is that's not just with her that I've done that. I've done that with every single relationship I've ever been in. I invest all in it on that person. I will literally ignore it the rest of my entire existence except for that person. I have a very hard time maintaining more than one relationship, and being active in more than one relationship. And I don't mean loving relationships, but if I have a girlfriend, I can't have friends, because I have to invest everything in that person. Because it's not even a conscious decision I make. I just subconsciously give everything for acceptance, and it's almost like an addiction. I never get the validation that I want. I've never felt truly that same sort of reciprocation, that almost the chase of trying to get that becomes more thrilling than the actual affection that I get. And that's why I put myself, I think, in situations and relationships that I do, is because I'm investing in people that I feel like I see myself in, and so I give them everything, hoping that they'll give that back to me, and I can finally feel like the way that I've tried to make everyone else feel. And it never pans out that way, and I end up losing everything in the process, just because I've wasted so much of my time and energy that by the time that things need me to be me, I can't be, and it all falls apart. The reality of things is, like, even with her, I was willing to go to so many extremes and so many lengths and do things that I never would have wanted to do, or never would have been fine with doing or been okay with doing, that goes against my core values, or things that I need for myself. But I would do them, and I would say anything, I would do anything, be anyone that she needed me to be, so she wouldn't leave, because I wanted that life so bad. I wanted that. I was willing to sacrifice everything for, and it didn't matter who got hurt in the way. It didn't matter if I lost myself in the way. It didn't even matter if in the process she got hurt from my actions, because I thought in my mind that the justification for those things was going to be enough to save it, and it still wasn't, obviously. But it's a twisted way of thinking, and it's a way of thinking that I have to break now. Like, I can't allow myself to do that, because every time that I get in this situation like this, and I do rebuild myself, as soon as I rebuild myself and I feel really good about where I'm at, things that I'm doing, then I give it all away just to do the same thing again and end up in the same situation again. And that sucks. That's what today is about, is facing a little bit of those, just by being honest about, yeah, I lied and I betrayed her trust, and that's why I'm in this position. I could say it was like snap, but it wasn't, because this had all been building up for the entire course of our relationship. This wasn't an overnight thing. Leading up to it, I knew, like, this was gonna be over soon, but I didn't want it to be. And, like, again, it's not like I did it because I wanted to hurt her, and I didn't do it because I wanted to see her suffer or to see her in pain. I did it because I knew that if I told her the truth, if I was honest with her, that it would still result in the same situation, and she would just still think disgustingly of me, lowly of me, like I'm nothing. It's all decisions I made trying to buy affection that was never there, and foolishly thinking that protecting that in any way was the safer option, because either way it was going to end the same. Just one perpetuated the little feel-good feelings and the delusion a little bit longer than the other one. And when you're trying to survive, like, you pick the one with the best survival odds, and those were my best survival odds. And it sucks, like, to think back on a relationship that you thought so profoundly on and that you felt so strongly on, to now think of it as a survival situation. Ran out of storage again. But let's wrap this up, I guess, because I'm going to touch on a lot of this more. Obviously, we're going to go in depth about a lot of different things, but I just needed the truth about why I'm here, at least, to be out. And now we can focus really on discovering and unlocking every single different chapter of what I lost and who I want to be, where I want to go, the things I want to do. This is not a journey, obviously, that's going to be solved in one step, and so one video called The Truth is not going to be all of the truth, and it's not going to solve everything now, but I think this is a good start. And thank you guys for listening and for letting me be vulnerable. And people are going to think about me no matter what, one way or another. I'm not trying to portray myself to be a good upstanding man, or to be a man that I'm proud of, or that I've done the best things in life. But the one thing that I am going to be is honest, and I'm going to be direct, and I'm going to own up to my faults. And the difference between being a bad person in my mind and being a decent human being is knowing that you have faults and being able to own up to them and being able to work on them and become a better person. And that's what I hope to do. And I'm glad that we get to go on this journey together. And whether or not I'm the only one who watches these, or somebody out here watches them and you resonate with anything, then I know at least I've made an impact one way or another. Sucks. I haven't really let myself feel a lot. Even this conversation, like, I definitely numb myself to get through, but I'm gonna have to face these uncomfortable conversations and these uncomfortable topics, and I'm gonna have to feel these feelings eventually. And that's, I think, the thing that scares me the most, is I'm gonna have to confront that at some point. And I don't have anyone to fall back on when I do, so that's hopefully what this will be here for. But yeah, that's the truth, and all we can do now is move forward. I think next we'll kind of talk about my kind of what's been going on, my immediate plans, and where my next steps are going to be, and then we'll start maybe talking about my history and why I am the way I am. But yeah, thank you guys. Stay safe, and if you want to see more, make sure you subscribe. Leave in the comments if there's anything that you might resonate with, or if there is any advice you might have or need advice. The comments, I want to be just a community of people helping each other. So if you want to see more, subscribe, and thank you guys for allowing me to share a bit of my truth today. And hopefully tomorrow we will be one step closer to being a better man than we were yesterday, and one step closer to getting my life back on track. Thank you guys for watching. Take care, big dog. Ow!